Hi everyone. Let's start with class 7 civics chapter 1 on equality. Synopsis. In this chapter we need to discuss what is equality, equal right to vote, important provisions in the constitution on equality, article 15, steps taken by the government to implement equality. Does equality exist? And at last, issues of equality in the other democracies. We can discuss all these things in detail. First, what is equality? Equality is a condition in which adequate opportunities are given to all. In other sense, we can say that right to equality is one of the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. This means that every person who lives within the territory of India has the equal right before the law. The meaning of this all are equal in the same line. No discrimination based on the religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. It is mean that all will be treated as equality among the equal, and there will be no discrimination based on lower or higher class. In a simple sense, we can say that we are living in the biggest democratic country in the world. Here we can find different type of religion, caste, linguistics or languages, then the place of birth. Like that we can find some kind of differences among ourselves. But even though our constitution guarantees the equality to everyone, in front of the law we all are equal. So in simple sense we can say that without considering our differences, we all are equal before the law. That is called equality. Next, equal right to vote. This is one of the best example for equality. In a democratic country like India, adults, irrespective of their religion, caste, education, economic status, or place of birth, are given the right to vote under universal adult franchise. The universal adult franchise is the best example for equality, political equality, which is guaranteed by the Indian Constitution to its citizen. The universal adult franchise, which means all Indians, those who completed the age of 18, will get the voting right. That is called universal adult franchise, without any discrimination. Those who completed the age of 18 will get the voting right, will get the right to select their representative. That is called universal adult franchise. Next, the important provisions in the Constitution on equality. Article 15. First provision. Every person is equal before law. That we already discussed. Irrespective of our differences, all Indian citizens will get equal provision before the law. Equal preference before the law. Second one, no person can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, race, caste, and gender. In India, we can find a different type of religions. Hinduism, Islam, Christian, Sikh, Parsi, Jain, something like that. We can find a number of religions. Then race, the Dravidians or Aryans, then the caste, the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, then gender, then male, female or transgender. So without any of these differences, we will get equal preference. We all are equal before the law. So nobody will be discriminated on the basis of our religion or race or caste or gender. It is ensured by the Constitution. That is, no person can be discriminated against on the basis of religion, race, caste, or gender. Without all these discrimination. We all are equal. Third provision, every person has access to all public places, including playground, shop, market, hotels. All person can use public well, roads, and other public places. Before the Indian independence, in India, the caste system was so rigid. During that time, only the high caste people, the Brahmins or Kshatriyas, or the person who is considered as the high class or high caste in the society, they used to ensure or they used to enjoy all the public facilities or public, they used to use access the public places. At the same time, the Dalits or the outcast people were not allowed to use any of these public places or public facilities. So after the Indian independence, after the formation of the constitution which means the written law of the land, we have our own written law. So according to the constitution, it guarantees equality to everyone without any discrimination. And the last provision, untouchability is abolished. Untouchability in simple term we can understand as a practice whereby a particular class or caste of person are discriminated with on the ground of their being born in that particular caste or community. Discrimination can be in the form of physical or social boycott from the society. Article 17 of the Constitution of India in Part 3 made an epoch-making declaration or important declaration that untouchability is abolished and its practice in any form is forbidden. Next, the steps taken by the government to implement equality. The role of government to implement equality. The two ways in which the government has tried to implement the equality that is guaranteed in the Constitution. First, through laws. For example, the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution includes the right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. So through the law, the Constitution guarantees some kind of special rights to us. Second, through the government programs and schemes. For example, the midday meal program scheme, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Pradhana Mantri Madhur Vandana Yojana, National Nutrition Mission, and so on. Next, it is a question to us. Does equality exist? It is one of the most important questions to the Indian Constitution and democracy. Does equality exist? In our society, we can find some kind of differences between the rich and the poor. With the help of their money, they are utilizing or they are using all type of facilities. At the same time, the poor people, they are not getting a chance to use the good medical facility, good education, or good habitation. The second, the caste system is also rigid. In every religion, we can find some kind of caste system, high caste and the low caste. And within the religion, the high caste used to impose or they used to discriminate the low caste people within the religion. Another one is the Dalits and other minorities are denied the right to dignity and equality. Every day we can see some kind of news which is related to this. The Dalits and the other minorities used to get some kind of punishments, or they were neglected by the upper caste people or other high class people. So other than this, we can find the gender discrimination or the linguistic discrimination. So we need to think, does equality exist or not? Next, issues of equality in other democracies. In many democratic countries around the world, the issue of equality continue to be the key issue around which communities struggle. For example, in the United States of America, the African Americans whose ancestors were slaves who were brought over from Africa continue to describe their lives today as largely unequal. They were treated extremely unequal in the United States and denied equality through the law. Here we can find four images. First two, anti-apartheid movement and bury apartheid. Apartheid, which is the discrimination against non-whites, mainly focused on the skin color and facial features. And the third image, we can find the black students are punished more harshly and more frequently than the white students for the same offense. It is an example for apartheid or the racial discrimination or the discrimination which is based on their skin color. It's one simple example. So in everyday life, the blacks were discriminated by the whites. So they started in America, the African Americans, they started to protest against that and they gained their equality. The Martin Luther King, he was one of the main leader of the African Americans. Martin Luther King was an American activist, minister, and humanitarian. He was a great speaker and motivated the blacks to protest using non-violence against the apartheid, the racial discrimination or the discrimination based on the skin color. Martin Luther is one of the renowned leader of the African Americans who worked for the welfare of their community. He empowered the African Americans to gain their civil rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion, or national origin. It also stated that all schools would be open to African American children and that they would no longer have to attend separate schools specially set up for them. After the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the blacks and whites started to treat equally. Before that, the whites used to show some kind of discrimination towards the blacks or the Negroes or the African Americans. But after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, they got the equality, they got their right. In USA, the civil rights movement of 1960s restored the dignity of Afro-American based on color. Here we can see two slogans of Civil Rights Act or Civil Rights protest. Do not be silent, do not be violent. With the help of this, we can understand that the blacks protested against the apartheid in a non-violent way. Next, we all bleed the same color. One nation, one people. Which shows the unity of blacks and white, or similarity of blacks and white. During the civil rights movement, Martin Luther gave speech named I Have a Dream. I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Thanks.